right, really. There's something rotten in the state of Britain, America, or, you know, the affluent society.
Now, we went through the National Theatre Galleries and we asked the audience what do they think about a fat Hamlet, and they said, oh no, at least 90% of them.
Well,
what would happen if they would get a fat Hamlet all of a sudden? And their tradition is, oh, he's lean, haggard, and poor
but why should I be bothered by this? My priority is discovering what the playwright wants. And in fact, again, you put your finger on this. I am arguing that people try to do things with Shakespeare. A British director or an English director, because I'm also British, an English director would take Shakespeare and the first question would be, in what period should I put him in? What should I do with it? You know, should it be 19th century? Should it be fascist Italy? Should it be this and that? My argument is that you don't need to do things with Shakespeare because Shakespeare hitherto isn't even understood yet properly. If you understand Shakespeare properly...
Was there anybody else that understood Shakespeare at all, but you?
Well, again, I mean, why should
that you adored?
No, I'm sorry, there isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, the point is, this sounds terrible, but the facts are facts. The facts are that what I am discovering and revealing in Shakespeare is not only hitherto not understood by English directors, it hasn't even been understood by English scholars, let alone therefore directors, etc. On the other hand, what I'm talking about is very well established in linguistic terms by some, for example, Shakespeare authorities and so on.
And the text does bear it out at numerous points, most obviously in Gertrude saying he's fat and scant of breath.
Yes, I suppose. I'm a great risk taker.
You are.
Yeah. So I very much wanted to play Queen Gertrude in Hamlet. But I mean, I knew that he started calling it the Fat Hamlet almost immediately. And I said, what? You know, what do you mean a fat Hamlet? Oh, it's because I see him like a, you know, not this romantic, usual, you know, elegant, good-looking sort of actor that usually plays these sort of things. And I think he might have said something about he had a different interpretation of it. But I don't remember that specifically, and I'm damn sure I would remember it if I had. It sort of evolved as far as we were concerned, the actors. Oh, damn it.
But the fact is that this idea, I mean, the computer in Edinburgh Scientific Research had fed the computer all kinds of information, and the computer has come up with this view of the future man. In other words, according to this computer prediction, the future is fat, and for reasons which are exactly lack of sort of exercise and so on. However, it may be that suddenly, genetically, scientists will find a genetic something which will make people slim. So nobody can know. But if the future will be fat, Shakespeare will be the greatest playwright also of the future.
So suddenly, all these discussions of possibly for 20 years, one was trying to work out this idea of Hamlet. Suddenly, you say, we're on.
Oh, most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot, come to good.
At the Kingsway Theatre, another modern dress Hamlet with Colin Keith Johnston. And this is Leopold Gessner's production in the Schauspielhaus in Berlin, 1926.
What do you want from your audience? Now we come from what do you want from the audience?
A fat Hamlet. Good heavens.
Again, you come to the wrong audience probably with the wrong material, isn't it?
A don't think I could contemplate a fat Hamlet somehow.
Do you expect them to love it?
Well, yes, because that is the text. Has nothing to do with me. If I have made Hamlet enormously corpulent, has nothing. That is what Shakespeare intended.
Young Cassius has a lean and hungry look. Yes.
This is the thing.
Yes.
So you wouldn't approve of a fat Hamlet?
Probably not.
Thanks
Are
very
you
much.
going to propose a fat Hamlet?
Isn't the theatre a triangle by which we have actors, director, and audience?
I don't see Hamlet as fat particularly. I don't think I'd mind. It would depend.
I cannot say these things myself, but the audiences who see my productions,
they love it.
Not only they love it, they get so completely. For example, I remember at the Chichester production, there was a nun who, when she sees, I was told this later on, when she sees Keith Michel in Oedipus coming, with the blood streaming down, etc., she shouts, "Save me, Jesus!"
I wouldn't like a fat Hamlet.
You would not?
No.
Why?
Time out. The Independent, What's On in London, which I think was a very important review, not because he praised it, but because he understood everything I was trying to say.
So he said it was good or bad?
But no, I think it was balanced.
Would you like to see a very fat Hamlet?
Probably not.
Who else has seen the production?
Well, I wouldn't know who else. I mean,
Didn't you invite people that you knew?
Not really.
Why?
Why?
Because I suppose we have perceptions about fatness today, which gets in the way of interpretation.
Yeah, but it was written sort of what?
Sorry?
The play was written 400 years ago when people really used to
And they weren't
eat
so
a
fat.
lot.
Well, because in English culture and all that, unless you tell your very close friends, I suppose.
Didn't you invite Hugh Crattle, who was our principal?
Now that you tell me, I'm very upset by that. Yeah, that's terrible. I should have invited him, but somehow, while he was sort of a wonderful human being, but he was also very English in a sense.
So what? People that I encountered, not only Hovhanness, but people that were involved with the production, would say that the audience was not ready for the play like this, and it chattered a sort of British fundamental sort of. Hovhanness. I mean, he has this one. But
I know exactly what you're saying.
He's not the only one that says
yes.
it.
Yes, I think that Hovhanness, anyway, his aim is to shatter the British.
Right. I mean, again, what theatre is there for.
Exactly.
I mean, sometimes it has to entertain.
Yes. I must say that the audience that I spoke to were sort of theatre associates mainly, and so perhaps they're more liberal attitudes.
You did a production for English people, you didn't do it
somewhere. He would have been probably upset if I invited him.
I don't believe it.
Because the implication is that the production should have its own impact, and he's in the know, and everyone would come and see.
When we do first night, we invite everybody that knows us and everybody that loves us, and all the critics which don't love us, but it doesn't matter, we do it. And it honors us, and we want to give them honor.
Fat? All right. Well, maybe. He's supposed to be a prince, so he's supposed to have access to all the good food, wouldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good.
I don't see a prince as being a very fat person.
Why? They eat a lot. Usually they make him very thin, sort of haggard, tortured, sort of slim sort of person. Would you?
Fat, though. I think you can be tortured and be fat. There's nothing to stop you.
But certainly I think the idea of getting away from this romantic stereotype of this lean fellow in black, sort of showing off his most attractive profile and pulling out the vox humana for the soliloquies is absolutely stone dead in my view.
You found these?
I found this. What is it?
But this is a review on ITV, and it said the production is inspirational.
I've never seen this.
It means, God inspired and so on. And it was amazing. Do you want me to read it?
You read it? Yes, you read it. You read it.
It says here.
I think Hovhanness is a bit ahead of his time anyway.
Exactly what I wanted to ask. I mean, wasn't it a bit ahead of his times? I mean, even if we know about so many outrageous productions at the time that were, but not a Hamlet.
No, exactly. It's because it's Shakespeare, you see. Yeah. It's because it's Shakespeare.
And you ought to.
Which is nonsense. I'm sure Shakespeare would be right behind a new treatment of his plays.
This is always what's wrong with the Shakespeare audience. This is the most conventional audience in the country. And it's curious. Shakespeare is a great field for directorial experiment, but the audience 9 times out of 10 is the one which is most resistant to any kind of monkeying about with the text. You've even got this ridiculous situation that in Stratford there are local heads of English departments that won't take their children to the RSC because they think that there's a mutilation of the text.
Would you like to talk to my wife, who is a professor of English and Shakespeare?
Beautiful. I mention that the reason some people play Hamlet fat is a misconception of something the Queen says at the end. When she says he's fat and scant of breath, fat meant sweating. They believed that you sweated fat, you see, because with Falstaff there's a lot. So I don't think I would like a fat Hamlet, but I would love a young Hamlet, because the word most applied to Hamlet is young. And if he's young, that explains why he's so hysterical over his mother's remarriage. If he's 30 years old, in Shakespeare's day, he'd be way middle-aged and he would be able to accept. So my ideal would be someone like Leonardo DiCaprio in his 20s, or if you want an English actor, Toby Stephens, I believe he's still in his 20s, or Sam West, they would be ideal. I'd love to see them play it.
Hamlet as fat, bad and mad. Ophelia is pregnant and Polonius is a bisexual pimp. Steve Varnum plays Hamlet as an obese lecher, as desperate for his next sexual fix as for revenge.
It does somehow give the actor access to a certain range of hatred and bitterness, and it gives him anchors him in some real visible cause for the emotions he's feeling. And when he talks about I'd lost all my mirth and this good if I can get the lines, but he looks at the world and it seems to be of no account, obviously, or one could say, reflecting his own worthlessness.
I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof, fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is a man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable in action, how like an angel in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet, to me, what is this quintessence of dust?
Told by the sages of the age, all the world a stage. Had my entrance, had my seat, had my act. Where have I been? Prince of shreds, a king of patches, of fading dreams that none could match. my only role, my special part, my only life, my treacherous art. La 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 la. Take that curtain, one last call. Get a life and damn you all.
But the rest, listen to it, but the rest is inspirational. Don't miss it. It's £8 well spent. And look how many stars they have given.
I didn't really
2, 4,
anticipate
5
how strong
stars.
the view to the play would be from different people.
Yes.
Because we had polar opposites in the press. We had people who loved it and people who despised it. I mean,
What about simple audience?
the people who came, I think, enjoyed it. I think they were with us all the way through because aside from being a provocative and kind of outrageous production, it was also, I think, perhaps the most accessible production of Hamlet I've ever witnessed.
But would you rule out a very, on principle, would you rule out a very fat Hamlet?
It would depend on how tall he was.
How would I describe Hamlet? Could be anything. I mean, Hamlet is in the head. It doesn't matter on the outside.
Would you see Hamlet like a sort of very fat, jolly fellow, or otherwise, does fatness goes with melancholy?
See, people are individuals. You could be jolly, you could be melancholic. Hamlet is a melancholic character, so it doesn't matter what his physical presence is. It's what's in his head is what dictates the character.
The most famous Shakespeare scholars in Britain used to be, he's dead now, used to be called someone Rouse. He has, a lot of books on Elizabethan theatre. And they, you see, this is hilarious, they have asked him what is his opinion, and Rouse says, a fat Hamlet, he asks, that's silly.
The audience loved it.
Has he seen the production?
I didn't invite him.
You didn't invite him. Which means it was a complete underground production which you expected to run for ages, but you're not inviting people to it.
That's quite true. I mean, it wasn't underground, but I did hope that
sort of
it would
hash sort of thing. It was provocative on one hand, but not to be seen on the other hand.
As it's finished, it was suddenly silence.
Yes.
Because I think they wanted more. It's like the audience, they couldn't.
But how was the ovation afterwards?
And then, as the people bowing and coming, and they start clapping, and they really, it was a very good. It was, I would say, kind of a standing ovation. It was an ovation they loved. They thought it was something. It was an experience.
Just retired, actually. I've written 4 books on Shakespeare, and I've just written another one called
Wonderful.
Shakespeare's Women in Love.
I don't like fat men.
Don't you?
Yeah.
It is not, nor it cannot come to good.
This is H.B. Irving, who played Hamlet in London in 1905.
Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning bedtime.
And 31 years later, John Gielgud played the part in the Empire Theatre, 1936. In 1937, Laurence Olivier played Hamlet in the Old Vic.
And I'm a maid at your window to be your Valentine.
And this is the wonderful Jeanette Crawford, Gertrude in Hovhanness I Pilikian Hamlet.
Then up he rose and donned his clothes, and up the chamber door.
And Hamlet himself, Steve Vernon, in the same production 7 years ago.
Let in the maid that's out of bed.
he was the heart of the production of Hamlet. And this is where everything erupted, isn't it? Yeah. So where is the famous corridor, for example, when you were chased by the actors?
Oh yeah, in that corridor, actually there, you know. So that was the box office.
Yeah.
I was at the box office, you know. After the show, I came there, you know, to kind of look around.
Yes.
And the actors, do you see at the end of the lights? Just the lights in the middle, you know, in front of the box office. They tried to...
Try to do what?
They tried to physically attack me.
Why?
I think because the production, I mean, of course it's not for me to say, but it became so, well, without sounding narcissistic, it became so powerful.
Yes.
The actors were so carried away with their parts.
You mean that they were overpowered by the Hamlet sort of spiritual sort of...
Hamlet experience. They were overpowered by their own... Well, the idea of the production was that society is hopelessly corrupted.
So everybody went corrupt. Everybody
went corrupt. Everybody went mad, actually. It wasn't only corruption.
It was madness.
It was madness. I mean, the actors going mad, except Steve. Suddenly,
one of your actors said it, actually.
Or the rot came into the production. And it was Polonius, actually, who kind of, you know, made a gang of actors who came to physically attack me.
So when we actually decided who the actors will be, because we had a few hundred actors with audition actresses. When we came to the point which actors we were going to take, we decided to do first line of actors, a second line of actors, because we knew the methods and the interpretation was too strong for actors to take.
It wasn't my first, it was my first sort of dramatic lead in theatre. Before this, I had been with the Royal Shakespeare Company for a couple of years and playing a supporting role.
How old were you?
I was 24.
24.
24.
Do you remember your first meeting with Hovhanness?
Very clearly.
Yeah.
My agent had sent me along for an audition with Hovhanness.
Yes.
And I thought at the time I was going out for the part of Falstaff. in Henry V. And I walked in there and did a couple of pieces for Hovhanness. And he said, well, how do you feel about playing Hamlet? I thought he was taking the piss at the time. I thought he was joking.
Yes, yes.
And I went, yeah, sure, okay. Yeah. And that was all that was said really at that time. And then a couple of days later we had a phone call saying, you've been offered the part of Hamlet.
And how did you feel?
I died on the spot.
Yeah, but it was a testing time for you actors, and I mean, and whoever sort of could stand up to it probably felt better, because I mean, we know sometimes a director can be very, very oppressive.
Yes, quite. But mind you've got actors that go boom, you know?
Yes. But obviously you were wrong. I mean, you didn't pick the right people.
No, I believe we picked the right people.
So I'd never really imagined ever that I'd get to play the part, just through my physicality, because it's always played by Olivier-esque actors, you know.
The play needed so much energy and so much total devotion, so the actors needed to be 105% at all times.
And Hamlet, to me, therefore, is the peak of human... No, I'm not, because it is the peak of exploring human madness.
Yes.